The pain of resisting what is. Good morning, beloved family. My name is Terrence, and I am a gratefully blessed being in the process of recovery. Today, I want to talk about the pain of resisting what is. When I look back over my life, I realized something that took me years to understand. Most of my suffering wasn't caused by addiction. Most of my suffering was caused by my resistance to the truth about my addiction. Reality was trying to tell me something, but I didn't want to hear it. Reality was saying, Terrence, you're addicted. Terrence, your way isn't working. Terrence, you need help. But I kept looking for another answer. I kept looking for another way. I wanted to keep living the way I was living without paying the price for it. So every week, I negotiated with reality. I became a master negotiator. I get paid and tell myself, this week will be different. I buy a half a gallon of liquor and tell myself I'm only going to get maybe 3 or 4 cracks. I had plans. I had strategies. I had promises. And every week, I ended up in the same place. Broke, disappointed, ashamed, wondering how I had done it again. The paycheck was gone. The promises were broken. And the pain remained. What I didn't understand at the time was that I wasn't really fighting addiction. I was fighting reality. I was resisting the fact that I could not manage my own life. I was resisting the fact that I needed help. I was resisting the fact that my way wasn't working. And the truth is, I really didn't know how to live. Nobody handed me a manual for life. All I had were the beliefs, rules, and examples that had been passed down to me. I watched people who seemed to be enjoying life, and many of them were doing exactly what I was doing, escaping. Nobody taught me surrender. Nobody taught me how to trust a higher power. Nobody taught me that peace comes from acceptance, not control. And because I resisted reality, I suffered. I lost good jobs. Real good jobs. I lost opportunities. I lost self-respect. And I lost hope. And perhaps most importantly, I lost my sense of identity. Although when I look back, honestly, I realized my identity wasn't built on anything solid. Anyway, it was built on external things. What I had, what I did, what people thought about me. And when addiction stripped those things away, I was left face to face with myself. And I didn't know who I was. Then came September 26, 1991, a date that changed my life forever. I didn't walk into a meeting because I had become spiritually enlightened. I walked into a meeting because I had ran out of answers. Every scheme had failed. Every promise had been broken. Every attempt to control my addiction had ended the same way. I wasn't looking for enlightenment. I was looking for relief. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. More than anything, I was exhausted from fighting reality. Reality was undefeated. And on September 26, 1991, I finally stopped fighting. I surrendered. Now, surrender didn't mean that all my problems disappeared overnight. It didn't mean I suddenly had all the answers. It meant I finally accepted the truth. I accepted that I was addicted. I accepted that I was powerless. I accepted that I needed help. And strangely enough, that acceptance felt like freedom. For years, I thought freedom meant doing whatever I wanted. But real freedom came when I stopped lying to myself. Real freedom came when I accepted what was true. I remember feeling relieved when I learned addiction was a disease. I wasn't just crazy. I wasn't just weak. I wasn't just some fool spending every paycheck and breaking every promise. I was sick. And if I was sick, maybe I could recover. If I was sick, maybe there was hope. If I was sick, maybe there was a solution. And there was. The solution began with surrender. Not surrender to addiction, surrender to truth. And truth changed everything. The process didn't happen overnight. Recovery became a journey. Healing became a journey. Growth became a journey. But for the first time in my life, I had direction. For the first time in my life, I had hope. For the first time in my life, I was learning how to live instead of learning how to escape. And somewhere along that journey, I discovered something beautiful. I discovered that God was never absent. The life living me had never abandoned me. The power that beats my heart, the power that breathes my breath, the power that carried me when I couldn't carry myself, it had always been there. Today, I understand that God is the life living me. And I discovered that when I stopped resisting life, life began guiding me. When I stopped resisting truth, truth began healing me. And when I stopped resisting God, God began transforming me. Maybe that's true for you too. Maybe your resistance is an addiction. Maybe you're resisting grief. Maybe you're resisting forgiveness. Maybe you're resisting change. Maybe you're resisting a truth you don't want to face. Maybe you're resisting the next chapter of your life. Whatever it is, I invite you to ask yourself, what reality am I fighting today? Because healing begins where resistance ends. Peace begins where resistance ends. Freedom begins where resistance ends. September 26, 1991 was the day I stopped arguing with reality. It was the day I admitted that my way wasn't working. It was the day I accepted that I needed help. It was the day I became willing to be guided by a higher power greater than myself. And while my recovery didn't happen overnight, My transformation began that day. Today I no longer fight the life living me. I cooperate with it. I trust it. I surrender to it. And every day that I do, more light shines through me. Remember, beloved family, the pain is not always in what is happening. The pain is often in our resistance to what is happening. Release the resistance. Trust the life living you. And remember, you are the light. Let it shine. Thank you.